My name is Art. I am with No Code Devs. Super excited today to have Make. If you're not familiar with Make, they were formerly Integromat, now they're Make. Either way, awesome tool. Happy to have Javi on the line from Make. We have some other members of the Make team on the call, Michaela, and we have Softr on the call too. They're here, so I'm sure they can answer any Softr questions. But sort of just enjoy this presentation. Javi will take it from here, and we'll get going. Thank you for being part of the No Code Devs community.
Well, thank you for the intro, Art. That was very cool. And I'm really excited about this use case that we're about to show. Just a quick intro. Well, I'm Javier. I work at Make, formerly Integromat, as you mentioned, and I'm a growth specialist there. But I'm also a very huge passionate about no code and no code building as well. So this use case that we're about to show you is it's a mix of three tools that I really like, that when they are combined with each other, it actually, you can build really sophisticated web applications. And yeah, I'm gonna just talk it through the different parts of this video. But essentially, we've built a job portal. I'm gonna show you just the final version or the final, the public website, okay? I know it's not pretty, it's just functional, okay? And I'm gonna show you what is happening in the background. So this is built on Softr. Right now you're looking actually at the published website on Softr. Here you can see the domain, okay, the domain name. But then there's also something happening in the backend, like how people might be able to log in. People are actually able to subscribe to get some job offers, okay? And also, if you're interested in any other jobs that you see in the in the actual list out here, you go visualize the detail page of this job. It's loading, and yeah, so you have all the the job description, everything. And if you're interested in this offer, you apply for the job. And then there's something funky happening in the background that I will show you with Make. Okay, so we've actually, when someone submits here and says that I'm interested in this offer, there's something going on. This is kind of like the overview. So essentially, it's a job portal. We got a public website and also internal portal. So something that only, let's say, HR people or the person who wants to manage and track the applications might actually see. Okay, so having said that, now let's jump into how is it built. Okay, so I think the first part that we're gonna cover is the logic, right? Essentially, like the database structure, and this is built on Airtable. And for those of you who don't know what Airtable is, I hope you do, because that means that you probably aware of the no-code space. But just for those who've never heard of Airtable, it's just a powerful relational database, which means that you could store information in here and then relate jobs to applicants and and to the different tables that require. So in this case, I think we only have one join or one linked record, which is how many the applicants to which job they applied. Essentially, we have those tables here: jobs, applicants, subscribers, and users. Okay, and jobs is pretty straightforward. It actually store the information about the job title, the company name, like some logos, the company description, the job description, and then some tags to define what the job is actually, the department that is referring to, what employment type it is, and then there's a bunch of fields that I'm not gonna go over in detail. I will explain one field in particular later on, which is this salary API final. And this is something that we are using to make a call to an API later on. But I will show you that when we get into the make explanation. That's to just to show you, like for instance, this, if I open it up, as you can see, is just the text that we saw earlier in the front end of the application. So essentially, this information is acting as a, like we're storing this in a database, and then we're using Softr to visualize what is in there, right? We can create a very versatile website or web application, if I may say, because it's dynamic, with different components or blocks, as they say in Softr. Okay, so you're actually looking right now at the Softr Studio, I think it's called, well, essentially the builder. Okay, where you build the website itself, and you've noticed that there's some blocks here repeated. Actually, that's done on purpose. I will get into that later on, where we'll see Softr in much more detail. But the section that I wanted to highlight just for this explanation is this part. It is the one that is connected to the Airtable. Okay, so this is the dynamic list that is being stored in our Airtable, and Softr is actually pulling that information from us and visualize it in here. Okay, and we can select the items per page that we want. But again, as you can see, the Airtable base is jobs, okay? And what default view that we are selecting is all. I want to show all the jobs in here. And again, switching back to our table, this is the database, okay? So hopefully, I mean, there's no more explanation around Airtable. Again, well, one thing that I wanted to mention is we have also this record ID that it's going to be really key for doing the connections between the different like requests or automations that we are building. Okay, but I think that's about it for a table. It's just the data in a storing in this relational database, and we're matching, for instance, if these applicants, and this is like a link field. Okay, so this is pointing this applicant's linked record. It's pointing to the other table. Okay, applicants. So all of the submissions that will be recorded in the website. So for instance, if I go to, let's say, technical writer here, like I pretend to be interested in this offer. I read through all the content there. Then if I submit, that's where the record will be filled out or will be added to the database. Okay, pretty straightforward. We have first name, last name, email, and the current location. We are doing something also we're doing an automation to grab the currency as well. But I'm going to show you that later when we get to make. Okay, so I think for now, I believe Airtable is explained. Okay. We have also the subscribers, and this is pretty straightforward again. This is just grabbing all the information from this CTA right here, this CTA that says, hey, I'm looking for a remote job, just send me some offers. So if you hit submit, then it will go into this table and into an email marketing automation platform. And that's something that we're doing with Make as well. Okay, so having said that, I'm going to switch to Softr because I know that we have limited time and we have so much things to cover. Hopefully that part of Airtable makes sense. And I'm going to give you like a intro around Softr, and then we're going to go into the detail of each block, each element, and so forth. So first of all, Softr is a front-end development platform that allows you to pull data from Airtable, as I said, and it also comes with blocks or how can I say, like different elements that you can add. Okay, there's this list right here. If I want to maybe add some hero section, then it's just as easy as or drag and drop, or selecting. Oops. So if I click on this add block, in here will be added. Okay, so it's loading. And there you go. So that's how you add a block inside Softr. Obviously, this block is a static because it's just an image and a button, but the nifty part is that you can actually put some stuff that is dynamic. As I showed earlier, this is pulling the remote jobs from the Airtable base jobs and just the default view. Okay. Here you can filter down those jobs. You as a user, you can use these filter settings. I'm going to show you what it does. So if I want, I'm interested in jobs in Africa, let's say, because it's easy. There's only one there. So it'll filter out the records automatically. Europe, I want to see Europe and full-time. Okay, and this is these are the jobs that match this criteria. And also, there is a search bar functionality here that if you type, I think it's the job title. So I'm just typing, let's say customer, and then you have it. It's just customer success director. So this is matching all the criteria about Europe, customer, and full-time. How do you build that? It's just as easy as this, using the inline filters. I'm using the location parameter from the Airtable base, and it will pull out the options automatically from there. Also, having another filter, it's the employment type, and again, it will automatically be pulled from that. And as you can see, this is the search bar that I was mentioning. You can input what is the parameter that you want to be filtered out in this section. Okay, so plenty of options of this list, dynamic list. Let me see. So this is the block. Essentially, you have static, as I mentioned. There's a bunch of those CTAs that you can use, even like pricing, like if you pricing page or something like that. Frequently asked questions as well. So again, all of those are static. If you switch to the dynamic tab here, we have like the I would say most sophisticated features of Softr. So you can embed forms, user accounts, which we're gonna see in a second because there is a signing method that I want to show you how to get into the portal itself, because we're actually right now we're actually looking at the front end, like the public website, right? But there is a part where you can log in, type your credentials, and then you get to the other side. So this is how you build that, user accounts and so forth. Okay, so this is just an overview of the possible blocks that you could use. I think I've used the list, one of those. You have different, layouts with vertical cards, with the sliding cards. So really Softr is making it really easy for the no-code developer to build something on a template based, and you might be able to edit it as well. So it really helps speeding up the process of building. So that's the blocks overview. One important thing is that we have pages on top of that. So pages, I would say, is the higher block or the higher layer in what you build inside Softr. And then each page can contain different blocks. Okay, so right now we are looking at the home page, but let's take a look at the different one. Let's say job details, for instance. So this one, the job details, is the information. It's grabbing the information that you saw when someone clicked on one of those job offers. So the detail view, essentially. And there is this section, which right now it doesn't show anything because probably it's taking an empty record, okay? But it's pulling up the information again from jobs, okay? This is just a text static one, and the form, okay, for apply to this job. But you notice that this is a different page, okay? So you build the pages on this left-hand side menu, and you can go, as you can build the pages that you need for your project. In our case, we just need a home page, the detail page for the jobs, a sign-in method, so the user who has the credentials can go inside and see the portal for the jobs, which I'm going to show you in a second, and then the dashboard, which you see this padlock over here. I'm going to show you. I'm going to talk about visibility settings right now. Okay, and post a job as well. It has some visibility settings for that, and request access. Okay, so these are the pages, and you can see the flag over there. So the second most important thing about Softr, I would say, is the visibility settings. So the dashboard one, and I think to summarize, there are two visibility settings, essentially. One on a page level, which this is the one you see. I'm restricting the access only for login users. Okay, so users who doesn't have an email and a password, they won't be able to see this. Okay, and then there is block visibility settings, and that's why you see here these icons over here, right? So there is a menu for non-login users, so public, and there is another menu if you sign in successfully. Okay, so, and this is okay, so I have to update it on the homepage. So I'll show you again the block settings for that one. Yes, so you'll see we're again on the homepage. The homepage is visible to everyone, okay? But there is this menu right here that if you're logged in, you will see, where is the conditional here? So the visibility is only login users will see this post a new job CTA and then my applications. Okay, the rest will see remote jobs and login. So again, just to summarize, And yeah, also, I don't know if it's in the comments, but maybe Mario from Softr can confirm. You can also use roles. So another layer of permission that says, I want to show this to, you can see, because custom user groups. Essentially, you are a login user, you have the credentials, but let's say you are an admin, or you are a regular member, or you are a collaborator. So you have to define those roles in the user level tab, and what permissions you allow the users to do, essentially. And this thingy about permissions is happening inside the users configuration. Okay, so if I go to users, you will be able to see that I have just one for testing purposes, and I think we're gonna test it out. So I'm gonna go to the actual live website, okay, and I'm gonna go on the login page. So I'll show you what it actually does. If I go to the login, then I prompt this message, and I have to input the values. So there you go, and the password. I'm gonna show that, and that's it. So Softr allow us to create just that easy, that signing method without any authentication routes or whatever in the backend. They take that and build it from us, essentially. So this is amazing. You cannot imagine how much time you could spend creating like a sign-in or sign-up method functionality for web applications. And this is just one click away, seriously. And we are now, as you can see, at the dashboard level. So this is the dashboard URL page. And we can see only one menu, right? In the studio, sorry, in the builder, if I go to the dashboard, as you can see, there were two. But since we are now login users, okay, now we're only seeing the second one, okay? So I'm going back here, and this is another list, what's it called, like the dynamic list block, okay? And I pretend to be like one of those HR professionals, right? And I want to keep track of my candidates, and I could do, okay, I want to see those ones who are in progress. So these filter out the records. I don't know if there's something here to type. I don't know if I built that functionality, but the thing is, if I click on one of those records, it'll put up the information of that person, right? And I can still, see who was accepted. There was only two there. And, again, if I click, it'll expand and see the rest of the records. Okay. So, and this is connected, sorry for jumping back again to that, but it's connected to the applicants tab or applicants table. Okay. So this is the information that we're pulling in, essentially. And yeah, so that's Airtable and Softr in a nutshell. I'm sure that I'm missing out many features that we can talk about. Let me actually pull up my little block of notes in here to see if I'm missing out something. I can probably talk about the signing method, how you can create that. So we discussed page structure, visibility, the layout and block types. Yes. Okay. Yeah, we can discuss like those blocks. I'm going to show you the blocks, and then we can connect to make. So to understand what's happening in the back, right? So let's go back to, first of all, the subscriber one. So if I go to pages on the home page again, I'm talking about this section right here. Okay. So this one, it's a CTA block that is visible to everyone. And it essentially, what we want to do is capture the interest of subscribers. So people who want to receive some job offers, we wanna send an email to them. Okay, and this is the configuration of the CTA. You can see we can change the title, subtitle, and so forth. But the important stuff is, what are we going to do when someone clicks on the button that is send some offers right now? But it could be subscribe to get job offer. And right now, the action is send it to make. But as you can see, we can directly add it to MailChimp. That's a native integration that Softr is providing. We can add it to MailerLite. We can send it to Zapier or forward to an email address. Right now, we're sending it to Make. And the way we do this is by sending it to a webhook. Okay. And we're going to cover what a webhook does or what it is in just a second. So I think I'm going to switch to Make right now. And I'm going to explain this part, and then we're going to take a look at the other one, which is a more complex automation. Okay, so essentially, this button right here is sending some information to Make. So now we're in Make. Okay, no way that we're covering a lot of tools in just 1 hour, but bear with me. So just a brief introduction to Make, formerly Integromat. Okay, I'm still adapting to the new name, but we are a no-code automation platform, right? And you can build essentially connections to different apps, right, with a few clicks. So it's just like drawing in a canvas. I'm gonna pull that in for you. So you can either start from scratch, which is the option that I'm choosing, or you can use one of the templates that we have available. And essentially, this is the canvas where all the magic happens. You can build anything you want. You can select the specific tool that you're interested in connecting, and then go through the steps of configuring the module. I want to get a record. Okay, then it will prompt you and say, what add your connection to the Airtable. Click on the base. I'm not going to do that. Okay, but you get the hang of it. Like it's configuring just like that. And then once that you have all the configuration sorted, you can add more modules. So you can connect the Airtable. What happens in the Airtable? Then I want to send something to Gmail, let's say. Okay. So you find, let's say, I don't know, send an email, right? And again, you go through the process of connecting your Gmail account, and then the process of configuring what are you about to send in that case. So this is essentially how Make works. So we are a visually no-code automation platform. You can drag and drop, okay, multiple modules. You can actually create a router here. Let's say I want to link this. Okay, and I want that to happen right now. Sorry for a little detour, but I think this is cool. So now we're splitting this. So imagine that you want to do an automation that sends something to Gmail and that sends something to another tool, let's say MailChimp. There. Okay, so we want to send a campaign. I don't know, search subscribers. That's the way you do it. Okay. Just I want to show you a brief intro on how to get around the canvas, and now we're gonna go back to the actual. Discard changes to the actual flow, or as we call it, scenarios. Okay. So we were in here. We're back into Softr. Sorry. Let me log out. And yes, so going back to the actual stuff. So this section, when we input the email address and hit the button, this is sending the information to a webhook. And short story about webhooks, I would summarize it as a reverse API, or like an endpoint where you can send information, no matter what. Like, you're sending something out of an action, and our action is we're inputting an email address. So that's what's happening, right? We put as you can see, the URL that is given by make on here. We copy that URL, paste it in Softr, and then something is happening. So I'm gonna demo you that for testing, okay? And then I explain you what happened. So I'm gonna run it once. This is the way that we like test things live inside Make, okay? So if I click the play button, now the webhook is listening for some incoming data. And now I'm gonna go to the public website and type, I don't know, this one. Let's use this one. Let's use this new email. I'm gonna type it in, send some offers, and hopefully, there you go. So that's how it went through. And we've used Make in that sense because we wanted to do something else, not only sending to MailChimp, but we want to store that record in Airtable. If we want something more simple, there is no harm in actually going to the native action that Softr is using or is enabling you. But if you want to go more with a more sophisticated approach, or you have like a sequence of actions that you know that you want to take right after this is happening, that's where Make can help you out building those. So coming back to this, I'm gonna briefly talk about like what is happening, why we have those ones in there, right? Everything is green, so I think everything is went fine. So I'm gonna show you actually the output. Okay, so remember, we just input one email address, we click the button, and then we added a subscriber to our MailChimp account. So if I refresh, hopefully we might be able to see the new subscriber added to that list. So it's loading. Come on, MailChimp. We're almost there. Yeah, I guess so many tabs open. Okay, we're getting there. And I think that's the one. Let's confirm that. Yes, so it actually went through, and we hopefully can see that there is like an import date or something they added. Okay, it's in probably Pacific time or something like that. But it did happen, okay? And if we go to Airtable, if we go to subscribers, we might have that pulling in as well, okay? So that works. So the actual scenario worked, it went through, and this is the way that it works. Essentially, we send this email, and this is the information that is the webhook is receiving, right? And then we passing on this information to the Airtable and says, okay, Airtable, you are receiving an input here. That is the email. That's it, okay? And what do you want me to do with that output? It's just creating that email. It's gonna create a subscriber ID, and it's gonna create it, you know, what date or what time it was created actually. And then the next step is also, okay, I'm receiving that from the Airtable. So here is the input field. That's the email address that I'm receiving. And now I want, you know, MailChimp to put it in the, where is it? The subscribed list, okay? And, you know, these are all the parameters. I know it can see a bit intimidating, but that's what it is, the module, okay? So these are the possibilities of Make. You can receive data from another application and then send it to whatever you like, in a sense. And we're gonna take a look at another example that has more steps, which is what happens when someone actually applies for a job. Okay, so I know this looks a bit daunting at first, but we're gonna break it down each step by step. So first of all, what are we talking about now? So if I go to the public website, okay, I'm gonna click on this one. I'm interested in senior Shopify developer. Then the detail page is being loaded with all the information, okay? And this is the section that I'm interested in explaining right now. So I'm gonna pretend again that I'm this user. So first name, let's say, I don't know, Harry Potter, and I'm actually, you know, located in Spain. So before I do the apply now, again, we are in the testing mode. So we're gonna click on the run once button, okay? But imagine that this, we decided that this is working just fine. We double check that everything is sending to the actual tools. So we can turn on this scenario, so we don't have to manually do that run once button every time. Okay, so that's the whole point of the automation. We put the responsibility on Make, and Make will take care of that. So now, again, testing purposes. So I'm gonna click on Apply Now, and that was quick. So it went through the entire process of those, and the output is I'm sending the user an email address, sorry, an email. Okay, and the content, let me see here. I just received this. This is the output. Hey, Harry, thank you for your interest in the role. And then we pull that in, you know, dynamically from the data. And the funky part, I would say, is we converted the salary to match the location of the user. So we're doing this with an API call, and we're comparing the data with a data store, which I'm about to show you, okay? But this is the output essentially. You can go, crazy with this, try different stuff. This is the use case that I thought about, and hopefully, it'll give you a sense of the possibilities around this. Okay. So coming back to Make, what did happen in the background? First of all, we received the webhook with those parameters that you guys saw on the Softr application. We got the first name, last name, the email address, the location, and there's this parameter that is called page and section. And that's, I would say, the most important one for this purpose, because how do we know that actually what's the job that is this user is applying to, right? So we know it by this record ID that you can see right there on the URL, okay? If I go back to Softr, you see it right at the top. This is the URL. If I click on this record ID, that's the way Softr identifies, sorry, let me go back to jobs. That's the way Softr identifies which job it is. If I find that record, you see that's it. That's the record that is, let me close that one. That is bringing the information from senior Shopify developer and all the information linked to it. So what job department it is, what employment type, what's the salary range, okay, what's the currency of that salary, and so forth, okay? So that's how we identify. But we cannot process this information and send it to the next, like in Airtable. What we need to do is actually parse it. So remove all the trailing spaces, all the not trailing spaces, sorry, like all the text before the query parameter, and we just only need that. What happens after the equal sign, okay? And also remove the form at the end. And this is, I'm not gonna get too technical on that, but this is like a regular expression, okay? This is how you type that in, and yeah, that's how it extracts that parameter that you need. So essentially we put in, as you can see, that's how we map one input with one output. So we're taking here in this text parser, we're adding the text of the page section and passing in the regular expression that we want to be using, okay? And now in the next module, in the Airtable, we are creating a record in the database, okay? Where? In the remote jobs. In the applicants table. We are pulling in the record ID from the job and then pasting just the first name, last name, and email and the location. So the things that were extracted from, sent through the application form. Okay, those 4 fields. They are received by the webhook, so that's why we're using this. But on top of that, we want to match to which job it is actually referring to, and that's how you make the link. Okay. So in next steps, we are actually getting a record here, getting the information of that record ID, that job. Okay. And we're going to use it in the following scenarios. So the data store, what it does, it is a database inside Make. So you can create databases inside this application as well. And what are we actually doing is evaluating what's the current location of the user. And you can see that this module is, pulsing, right? So we are grabbing the current location of that user, which I believe was Spain. Filter. Yes, so it was Spain. And we are searching that record in our database. And we have, let me show you the data stores. It's just a really simple database, but I want to show you what it does. So if it loads, we have in this database the country and the currency, okay? Because we are using this currency, so let's say, the user is in Spain, then bring me the currency euro. If it is in Italy, bring me the currency euro as well. If it is in Canada, bring me the Canadian dollars, okay? So this is the data store that we are using in here. And we're bringing in, okay, this user that submits the application is based in Spain. So what currency is using? Euro. And what we are doing with this is sending to the next step, which is the API request. Okay, we're sending this to we are connecting to an API, which is called exchange rate host convert, and we are converting the, where is it? We are converting the amount of the salary band, okay? So in this, let's go back to the, I know it's a lot of steps. So I think it was this one. So the lowest band, the salary band for this role, for this job, senior Shopify developer, was 120K. Converted, we've done some process here, and this is the final output that is going to be used in the API. So essentially, we are sending that information dynamically every time and getting the API to pull the information from us and say, okay, what is the rate for that? So the rate is, the result is this. Good. Info, there we go. So the rate is 0.94, and the result is you're passing that information. So that's the one that we are using in our last step, which is the Gmail. Okay, so in the Gmail, you see this is the configurator. We are using the output of data result, and this is mapping the information on the HTTP request. Okay, so as you can see, we can bring in the Gmail in here. Let me close that. In the Gmail, we can bring information from the previous modules. If we want the first name on this one, you see the bubbles, loading in there. We can bring the job title and the company from the other one, and also we can format this number and bring in the data, the result of that API request. And this is just some HTML format. And that's it. So the end result is the user receiving this email with the information that we want to send in that case. If everything is going well, if we like the result of the output, then we go ahead and click on, I'm going to delete the queue, but we're going to click on the turn on, so toggle on, and that way, every time there is a new submission, Make will take care of that and will run the automation for you. So that's pretty much it. I think I'm cover most of this stuff. I know that there might be a lot of questions. Probably I've seen people, chatting in the like throwing some message in the chat. So I think we can have, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 minutes or even more. I don't mind, of questions, Q&A. So
yeah, thanks. Hopefully you can hear me. Thanks so much for that demonstration. That was super awesome. Able to see a little bit of Softr, Airtable, and Make, which is super cool. And I know that there's all different levels of of people in these workshops. So it was really great to see the spectrum of simple to probably a little bit more advanced. And there have been a lot of questions throughout. Some of them have definitely been answered, but I think there's some other ones here that maybe we could pick out. And if you have a burning or pressing question, just sort of maybe type it in again, just in case we missed it, because there was a lot going on in the chat during the event here. So here's one that's just really easy. How long did it take you to build all this?
Good question. I haven't counted the number of hours, but I'm telling you that it took me like maybe 1 day or 2 days out of building this. Obviously, there is some things that you need to adjust later on. But once you have the idea and then you get onto building, then it is really easy to just get the hang of it, really.
Yeah, that's probably what I would have guessed too. I mean, most of the things that you saw there could probably be built in a day or less, depending on your experience with all these different platforms.
Of course. Yeah.
I know a few people asked about sharing out like the links to the scenarios or the blueprints. I believe that we can do that. So, we can include that in the email that we send out with the recap of the event. So as long as Make can provide those to us, we'd be happy to include those so everyone can sort of duplicate this experience and build it on their own. Sure.
Yeah, I think there's not a problem. I need to make sure that we don't have any sensitive information on the, on the actual field that is about to export, because actually inside Make, you can export like your scenarios as a JSON file. So, and that you can import it in your Make account as well. So it's really easy as well to replicate that. So if there is no problem, for sure, we'll share that.
Awesome. Lots of things going on, and feel free probably to grab any questions that you see that you're able to answer. We
okay.
Probably
let me go through the through the questions, because I haven't seen the chat, because can we get access to the sample? Yes, we've covered that. Can you just send to a standalone webhook? I think Dennis from No Code Devs was asking that. If you mean by standalone, I mean, that's what we were doing actually. We were sending the information to one webhook. So a webhook is an endpoint. It's a unique URL. You cannot send the same information to 2 different webhooks, as far as I'm concerned. Okay. Because that would be a conflict. That would, the webhook wouldn't understand the data structure and say, hey, you're passing me this email, but then the next day you're passing me, this first name, last name, and whatever. So what is the information? What is the source of truth for that? I hope that, yeah. What happens when MailChimp is down? I cannot answer that question.
There is error reporting now, so you could set up some sort of like Slack message or text message alert if there's an error in your scenario. Would that be something you could do?
Yes, exactly. So there is, so it's called like a built-in function or a built-in module, and essentially you can react to errors, and then if you receive a certain error all the time, then you can send a notification to Slack to warn you. But usually if it is an error on the scenario, and the scenario couldn't run, and you have it turn it on, like switched on, you will get a notification, and the scenario will stop running, like the subsequent request. So just to prevent that, some information is missing, or just a sign, like a warning, But yeah, there is a whole like a chapter around error handling, and I believe there is good videos around that in the Make YouTube channel. So make sure to check those out.
Yeah, and since there are a lot of questions, I think that it would be good to, obviously the Make YouTube channel, where's the best place to just sort of go for support and help? And, if you want to provide any information for anybody to reach out, if they have questions about this specific webinar, you can do that for sure. But, sort of if you want to share those resources, that'd be great.
Yeah, so I would say as resources, you can always go to, again, the YouTube channel. We are uploading videos there. Most of them, they're quite, educational, with educational content. Also, the help documentation. I know that Airtable, Softr, and also Make, we have like great documentation, like support resources for that. And the last thing, if you have any other remaining questions that we weren't able to, to answer throughout this webinar, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Like, I'm quite open, and frankly, if I know the answer, I'll let you know. Otherwise, I try to point you in the right direction. So.
Awesome. Another one more quick question, and we'll probably wrap everything up just to respect everyone's time and the time that was scheduled. Sure. But another question was that I thought was interesting is why choose Airtable as a database rather than just using like Make as a database?
That's we do have a database, as I saw, like the data store, but Airtable is way versatile in the way that you can build stuff in there. So you can create views inside the inside the database in Airtable that gives you more flexibility on what information you want to show. And I think Airtable is more for workflow processes as well. So depending on what information you want to show in there, you can literally build views that then connects to automations and stuff, and then you can do really, really powerful things in there. So I would say that's the main reason. Like, Make at this point is not I would say ready for having those databases in the way that Airtable was built, because it looks pretty much as a Google Sheets with extra, like, really powerful features. And yeah, that's
yeah, and it would probably be easier to if you're working with a team to collaborate on editing the data, in Airtable, where Make's database is more of like a transactional type of database that's used to temporarily store data, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm sort of just guessing, but that's like another component of it for sure.
Yeah, I'd like to answer one last question that I just saw from Stefan, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of time. Yeah, Stefan, and that's a really interesting one, and I can talk about, like, even in personal terms, like, what makes Make better than Zapier? Okay, first of all, I have nothing against Zapier. I was I guess a power user of Zapier for quite some time. That's how I got into the automation world. But for me, I think the turning point was that Zapier, you have to build on the same level. I don't know how to explain that.
Like linear.
Linear, exactly.
Yep.
Like a linear type of stuff. So it got to a point where I wanted to build more sophisticated stuff and branch out different things. And the way that my mind works in that sense, I prefer to see everything visually, right? So step 1, step 2, then branch, then, and then Zapier, you have to go bit by bit on this drop down kind of layout. and for me, it wasn't working. But I would say that's the main difference. Then again, Zapier is a really powerful tool, but that's how I see it essentially.
Awesome. Yeah, and as I said from the onset here, this has been recorded. We'll email it out. If you have any questions, you can find Javi on LinkedIn for sure. Send him a message. You can also send me a message, and I can relay it to anyone or try to get an answer as well. But yeah, really appreciate this, you guys. This was a really cool session. Showed a lot of different tools. Appreciate everyone being a member of the No Code Devs community and the Make community as well. I know there's a mixed group here. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, and thank you for your time. Hopefully this was helpful to everyone. And be on the lookout for more sessions like this. We do sessions like this every couple of weeks. So if you're interested in different no code tools, you might learn something new.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I hope that you learned quite a few things and it was helpful for you guys. So
thanks so much. Have a good day, everyone.
Cheers.